Hi, I'm Charlie. Welcome back to Cine Channel, and today I am not going to be reviewing a movie, but I will be ranking all the X-Men movies. So I just got done ranking a majority of the X-Men movies on my channel, and I have the playlist there now if you want to watch it, and I'm going to add this video to the playlist. But I have reviewed all the X-Men movies except the first three, because I just started the channel when I was past the first three, but I've still seen them, and I will be ranking them. Also check out my Squid Game Season 3 review if you're done with that. I posted that 2 days ago. So let's just get into it. So we have 11 movies here, and in 11th place I put The New Mutants. Now right off the bat I want to say I don't think any of these movies are really like bad. I just think at the worst mid and like maybe cringy. But The New Mutants was just so bland and boring and only had one character that I really thought was interesting. Tried to go for some PG horror, but that didn't really work out and just had this one monster looking creature. It just feels like it suffered from not really being an X-Men movie but trying to put itself as an X-Men movie. Like I don't even think this movie was supposed to be a Marvel X-Men movie. They probably made it one just so they could release the film. I just didn't find it that very interesting, and in my review I gave it a 5. One interesting character, but a really just boring storyline, and all the other characters didn't work. Half X-Men movie, half not X-Men movie, so it is in last place. In 10th place we have X-Men Dark Phoenix. This was the last X-Men movie with the main original cast, and I mean the younger ones. And it's just not a good end to the X-Men franchise at all. 2 movies before this, maybe even 3, they could have ended it, but they just kept going, and now we're deconstructing Charles and making him a villain and making X-Men turn on him. We got cheesy dialogue, though I do appreciate the darker tones of this film with Jean Grey, and it makes sense for the film to be that way with her character, and I can see where it's going for. It just does not make it, and I gave it a 6 in my review. Did not need to exist, and we didn't even get to see the full force of the Phoenix. In number 9 I have X-Men Origins Wolverine. This was my first review, and I thought this movie was just fine. You know, the trailers said it was going to be more darker, and it ended up being a little campy and goofy. The Deadpool stuff obviously totally did not work, but it was still cool seeing obviously the origins of Logan Wolverine and the brotherhood of him and Sabretooth. I think Stryker is an intriguing character as the villain, bumping that up to a 6.5, but still a disappointment for sure. Number 8 we have The Wolverine, now a bit better. A lot more locations and cool characters this time around. Plot twists in there with the old soldier that Logan saves, and then he turns out to be the bad guy, trying to use Logan's powers to live forever. I just don't think it added much, though the look and the style and the soundtrack are really cool. Just compared to all the other movies on this list, it falls at a 6.8. Number 7, XMen Apocalypse. This movie had so many ideas and was just so overstuffed. It was trying to be the end to the X-Men franchise after what could have been the end to the X-Men franchise. And it does work again as an ending, I do believe. Just begs the question why. Oscar Isaac works well as the villain, I think. I just think outside of the main cast, we don't really have that much interesting characters. They don't really give them a lot to do. Kind of made Magneto a puppet, and the villain Apocalypse's goal is just to take over the world, basically. So it was just a fine film to me, and I gave it a 7. Number 6, X-Men The Last Stand. This is the ending to the original X-Men trilogy, and this is the first time we get to see Dark Phoenix. Kinda, not really. They also kind of fumbled this one, killing Scott off right away, not doing that much with the Dark Phoenix, killing Professor X. And Wolverine and Jean Grey's relationship has just never worked for me, since Jean and Cyclops are supposed to be a couple, and then Wolverine came out of nowhere in the first X-Men movie. So I don't know about the whole Logan and Jean stuff in this movie, but it still does work as the ending to the original X-Men trilogy, and I gave it a 7.5. Number 5, X-Men First Class. This one is really fun to me because we get to meet all the characters for the first time and see the origins of them, Charles and Eric's friendship, how they meet and how they divide. Seeing Mystique as Charles' sister in here, and all the X-Men joining for the first time. It's just a classic, but there are still 4 more movies I think are better than this, which shows you how good the X-Men movies can be, but I just wish that the other ones I talked about didn't exist. X-Men First Class is a fine film to me, and I gave it a 7.8. Number 4, Logan. The ending, or what we thought was gonna be the ending of Logan Wolverine. This movie is just a beautiful send-off to his character. Hugh Jackman plays the part so well in this film. I mean, he does in every film, but in this film it's just amazing. It hits you with the feels when you see Charles Xavier like old, losing his mind and having to be locked up because his mind's too powerful and he's so old where he can't control it anymore. X-23 is a good character, I feel. The plot of her being like the new last mutant was really cool. Overall, classic film, and it's, you know, still so recent, 2017. I gave Logan an 8. Now we are at our top 3, my favorite X-Men movies. But first I just wanted to mention how none of the Deadpool ones are in here. I just didn't want to have to extend the series to July and then rank 12, 14 movies, you know? But also I do kind of view them as separate from the X-Men. I mean, I know they're both X-Men, but I just think like Deadpool is a spin-off of the X-Men franchise, if that makes sense. I just wanted to clear up why Deadpool wasn't in this list. Maybe Deadpool and Wolverine should have been in this list, but I was just going over the main X-Men movies. Number 3, XMen II, X-Men United, X2, whatever you want to call this film. I loved it. It automatically opens up with Nightcrawler attacking the White House, which is just a banger way to open an X-Men movie. We're focusing more on Logan this time and his origins and him trying to find, you know, what really happened to him, and William Stryker's in the movie. Logan's arc, Charles Xavier and Magneto at it again. I just think this sequel is great and is everything a sequel should be. Introducing more mutants, playing out stuff you introduced in the first movie, great character arcs and writing. It's just all there in X2, and I gave it an 8. Our runner-up, as Sean Chandler would say, number 2, I gotta change the screen. X-Men Days of Future Past. Now honestly, you already know what the first one is, and you could switch out this and the first one. And it's just, I could go back and forth, but I just decided to put this as number 2. But X-Men Days of Future Past is just a great movie in my opinion. Seeing the old cast in 2023 and the young cast in 1973 interacting with each other and where Charles is at in his life when he's in 1973. The emotions to this movie and the scale. The apocalypse world you see that is in 2023. The sets are good. Sentinels are amazing. Seeing old Charles Xavier talk to young Charles Xavier and be the reason why young Charles Xavier is the way old Charles Xavier is, that was like smart. To me, it was smart, and I was like, damn, this movie is amazing. It's a fun popcorn flick while also having emotional substance. And that's rare. That's X-Men Days of Future Past, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. I gave it an 8. Bringing us to number 1, X-Men. Call it a cop-out, call it whatever you want. My favorite X-Men movie is X-Men. Coming out in 2000, this movie just changed the game for Marvel superhero movies. Just superhero movies in general, it changed the game. Because this was even before Spider-Man in 2002. And the way they were able to take these comic book characters that everybody looked at as silly at the time. You know, no one knew who the X-Men were before this movie, except if you were a comic book fan. So to see all these goofy characters and the dark plot lines and like the emotional connections in this movie was just crazy for people at that time. And it started what we know as the MCU with Kevin Feige, the president of the MCU, started working on superhero movies with X-Men, pretty sure, but I know that he worked on X-Men. The characters in this movie, Logan's hidden backstory, Charles Xavier and Magneto's relationship, Rogue's character. I don't know about Cyclops. They do Cyclops dirty. That's why it's not a 10 out of 10. But damn, did this movie just work and change the game, and is a big reason why we have what we have today with superhero films. And making this movie political, just trying to make it as most realistic and grounded as possible. Just the smartest move, and created an all-time classic. The mutants versus humans storyline, how they understand each other in the end. Kind of. And how these X-Men will always just keep saving the people that hate them the most. It's a classic movie, and it's great, and I gave it a 9. And that is all 11 X-Men movies ranked, other than the Deadpool films, but I consider that a spin-off. And if you ask, do I consider the New Mutants a spin-off? I don't know why. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for watching the reviews of the X-Men. All of them and this video are in a playlist now. I hope you enjoyed my opinions. Fight about me with this ranking in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Hopefully we get an X-Men movie in 2028. I'll see you tomorrow, because I'm going to post tomorrow. And that'll be tomorrow when I'm going to post. Have a simple day.